So me being the ever completely lazy person that I am, I'm always looking for a better and faster way to apply my foundation. And the other day I saw a video about this. This is the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. The packaging looks like this, just in case if you're curious. And this is something new that they have come out with, and I saw a video on it, like I said, and I wanted to try it, but I haven't found it. So I found it the other day in Ulta, and I thought I would do a first impressions and give it a go. This is the first time I've ever used this, so I'm just going to apply my foundation with it, and we'll see how it goes. Now, I've already cleansed, moisturized, primed, let that soak in, so the foundation I'm going to be trying this out with is my Urban Decay Naked Skin, and I don't know if I mentioned, this is damp. I'm going to use it damp. I don't know if you're supposed to, but I'm assuming that you're supposed to, because it may be, I think it's supposed to be like a beauty blender, but snazzier, I don't know. Here we go. Wow, this is kind of crazy. Now in the video, she just like wipes it and blends it. Huh. I like pouncing it better. This is kind of crazy, so I'll just do one half of my face so you can see. It's nice. So that's one half of my face, and you can see the difference. Like there's a complete difference in how this applies with this as opposed to my buffing brush or my expert face brush. This, I am loving this. I'm going to finish my face. Here's my face done. Now here's the thing. This little sponge applied less foundation, more full coverage with a medium coverage foundation than a brush. That is amazing to me. Like I swear, you know if you've watched my videos that I swear by this little brush. I love this little brush. I use it every time I do my makeup. This sponge is fantastic. I am loving this. So that is my foundation. Now we're going to conceal. Let me find my concealer. So I'm going to do it just like I regularly do it. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Alright, so I got my concealer on, or my first concealer on, and then I'm just going to use the same side that I did before, and just kind of blend that out. Just flip it around here for a smaller area. And like this feels really nice on the skin because it's cool. Like that feels super nice because it's cool and I like that. Alright, now for under eyes, and I do have to say this thing is riding high on my list of favorite things at the moment, so we'll just slather some of that on, just like normal. And now for the Miracle Complexion Sponge. So let's see. Huh. That is quite amazing. Concealer's blended out already. That's... So now that all my concealer's applied and blended out, very quickly I might add, this maybe took me 5 minutes. I have to say this is definitely on my list of new favorite things. Like, it's flawless looking, it's very even looking, it's just very nice looking overall, and that's a lot to say about a little sponge. You can barely apply like cream blush and cream contour and stuff with this. I don't know if I'd contour with this, that just kind of freaks me out. Now for the review of this handy dandy product. So this is the packaging that it comes in. It's super easy to open. You pop the little flap out of the back right here. It just pops open and you pull it out. Super easy. I found mine at Ulta for about $5.99. And as you can see, it's quite soft and quite easy to squeeze, and it goes right back. So I do like that it's very soft, very bouncy. It doesn't, when it's damp and you're pouncing it on your face, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't, or not hurt, but it doesn't like feel uncomfortable to do it, I guess. And I really like the finish that it gives to the skin. You can be wearing a matte foundation but still have a natural looking finish with this sponge, and I really, really like that about it. So now that I have used it a few times, I have used it with 3 different foundations. I did this on purpose. The first one I used it with was, not this one. First one I used it with was the Urban Decay Naked Skin Foundation. I love the way this foundation applies anyway with a brush. I just think it gives a natural finish with a brush, but using it with a sponge, it gives kind of a more dewy natural finish while still giving you a like medium full coverage, which is very nice. And with a brush, you can only get about medium coverage with this, I would say. So that's really nice. The next one I used it with was my YSL Youth my YSL Youth Liberator Foundation. This is a great foundation to apply with a brush. You can get about medium, I would say medium coverage with this with a brush, medium full with a brush. But you can get full coverage with this, with the sponge. It's just the way it applies it, it just kind of gives you a very natural finish while giving you very flawless looking skin. Which is really nice. And you know, this is, if you've used this, you know this is quite a liquidy foundation. This one is not. This is quite thick, but still very creamy consistency. So these are 2 completely different ends of the spectrum. Ooh, I almost just dropped it, and it's in a glass bottle. And then the one that's kind of in between those 2 would be MAC Studio Fix Fluid, and this is actually what I have on today. I have not worn this foundation since I purchased this, and that was months ago now. At least a month, if not longer. Maybe 2. But I used this today when I applied this makeup, and I do have to say, as much as I have issues with this foundation being so cakey sometimes and being so full coverage, this kind of shears out the foundation while still giving you that full coverage, and it makes it look more natural and not quite so heavy. I mean, it still does kind of look a little bit heavy in person, but it's not like, oh my god, how much foundation did you put on? Which I feel like this one can kind of do that to you sometimes. So definitely applying it with this sponge. I will definitely be starting to use this again and probably get much more use out of it, which is really saying something about this little sponge, because I couldn't stand this after the longest time using a brush. So it really has kind of changed how my foundations apply and how they look, which is really amazing that this little tiny sponge can do that. Also, I have been using this to blend out my concealers. I mean, I think I showed that in my first impressions that's before this section of the video. And the concealers that I use daily are the Instant Age Rewind from Maybelline, the Rimmel Wake Me Up, and MAC Studio Finish. And I use them for completely different things, as you saw me in the first half of this. This is to highlight and brighten, this is under my eyes, and this is to cover any spots. I have actually been using this one less since I've been applying my foundation with this sponge. I don't need it as much because this sponge gives more coverage with your foundation. Like, I know that sounds hard to believe, but using this sponge you get a thicker, not thicker, but a fuller coverage with your foundation. But I use these all over my face, and then I just use this to blend it out. Same side I use to blend out my foundation. So pretty much all of the product ends up here on this flatter side or somewhere around this top rounded edge, or kind of on the tip a little bit depending on where I'm working on my face. So I use it to blend out my concealers, and it really has taken the place of me using my Real Techniques Dome Shadow Brush, which I do use to blend out all of my concealer all the time. So it really has taken the place of a brush, and now I can use that brush for something else, or I have an extra brush if I need it, kind of thing. I don't know, but so definitely a lot of product ends up on this little sponge here, but it doesn't make it cakey on your face. Even though all your product is ending up in one area, it does not make your face cakey. It just blends it, which is really nice, and it's super quick. Like, I mean, I can be like, pounce, 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 and my concealer is blended out, and I can just be like, 1, 2. Under my eyes, I can be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and my under eye concealer is blended in. It's that easy with this, and I really like that it is super duper easy to use. In my research, I went to Samantha Chapman's YouTube channel for Real Techniques and watched the launch video of this, and she doesn't say if she uses it wet. I use it damp. I watched a ton of reviews and demos on YouTube, and they were all pretty much using it damp, so I was like, I will use it damp. And so I use it damp. But also when I was at the Real Techniques video for this, I noticed that a lot of people had complaints that it was becoming misshapen or deformed and like flaking after they washed it and it dried. And it, like, they couldn't get it back to its original shape, and they didn't know what to do, and da-da-da-da-da, and on and on and on, and I was like, it's a sponge, like, it's a cosmetic grade sponge. What are y'all doing to this sponge that it's becoming so misshapen and deformed? Like, I've never used the Beauty Blender, but I've felt it, and this does kind of feel a little bit like it, like, texture-wise. It is a bit denser, I think. But texture-wise, it's kind of the same. And I was just kind of like, what did y'all do that you ruined this? I have washed it after every time I've used it. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I can't wash this like I would wash a brush. I can use the same soap, but I have to be gentle with this because it is a sponge. Like, with my brushes, just for example, like, I'll put the soap on the back of my hand and I'll go like this. And with the Real Techniques brushes, they just go back to shape. So I don't have to really worry about it. But using this, I was like, it's a sponge. I need to be gentle so I don't wreck it. So how I have been cleaning it is I will just take a little bit of soap and put it here. And I use Dawn antibacterial soap on all of my brushes, synthetic or real hair. So I just assumed I could use it on this, and I did. Nothing's happened to it, as you can see. I mean, it's still a little bit damp from when I washed it a couple hours ago, but it has gone back down to its original size almost. Like, it does expand quite a bit, like the Beauty Blender, but it has gone back down to size, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not misshapen. But I'm just super gentle with it when I wash it. So like I was saying, I'll put a little bit of soap here because that's where the majority of my product ends up. It's like it would end up soaking into this part of the sponge, and then I'll just kind of rub it a little bit to work the soap into there. And then I just kind of go like this with it and just kind of work the soap in it, but I'm not like, clean the sponge. I'm very gentle with it, and I just kind of squeeze it and work the soap in it. And then when I rinse it, I just kind of squeeze it, let it fill back up with water, squeeze it out, let it fill back up with water, and squeeze it out. Just until no soap comes out of it. And then once I get all the soap out, I get it wet completely again, kind of just roll it back and forth in my hands and squeeze it a little bit, and then I'll roll it in a towel a little bit so it feels like it's almost dry, but it's still damp. And that's how I've been washing it, and I haven't had a problem with it like flaking or being deformed or misshapen, so I don't know what was going on with that, but I think they may have just been too rough with it, and that's what happened. But I haven't had that happen, and I've washed this several times, so